Other week. Can you absolutely believe that we're all back on this live again? It's been 7 days since the last one, and God, it's flown by. So I'm just going to quickly say hello to a few people in the chat. I've actually got hang on. I'm echoing now. I'm just going to quickly say hello to a few people. Hi, Robin. Hi, Locke, Sharon, the Right Pair Plot, Trishan, Ali, Siggy. Hi, Phil Hurst. If I miss anyone out, it's going as normal. I'm just trying to say hello to them. Hi, Linda, everyone. So I'm just saying hello. We're all ready. They're all ready in the green room, ready to come back out. And hopefully it's going to be in a really good live tonight. So we're going to be talking about kitchen garden versus allotment. So I'll bring all the guests in. Tonight we've got Mayu from Spuds and Roses. Hi, Mayu.
Hi, hello.
And then we've also got Annie from Annie's Kitchen Garden. Hi, Annie.
Hello, everybody.
And as you all know, everyone knows Gemma. Hi, Gem.
Hello, everyone.
So, yeah, I'm going to be ganged up on tonight, I can tell, because, honestly, I put 3 alpha females on the screen. What could go wrong, eh?
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Right, so let's start off, shall we? So I'll just welcome you all. So everyone all okay? You all excited for the live?
We're all excited, yeah. Absolutely.
You'll be all okay. You'll all be all right. Annie and Mayu, you're both new to this, but Gemma's used to it now. Gemma was like this when she first started. You soon get in the swing of it and you forget about everything. So, as we all know, like Gemma's got an allotment the same as me. So I think I'll move the screens around so we'll be at the top. Not that we're saying we're better, but I'm saying it'd be easier if we put me and Gemma at the top because we've got allotments and Annie and Mayu have both got kitchen gardens, right? And beautiful ones as they are. So I've all swapped it on now. So it's team allotment versus team kitchen garden tonight. Let's see who wins. So let's just have a quick check at the chat. Oh, God. Hello, Damn Rabbit. Hello, Carol. Hello, Joyce. The veg plot thickens. Hello. God, there's so many on you tonight as well.
Hi, Ali and Trisha.
Yeah, they're all on. Everyone's on tonight.
Hi, Linda.
They're all going as well. Hi, Nicola. Nice to see you on again. So, as you know, me and Gemma's got allotments, and I personally prefer that, but I know obviously whether or not you prefer it or not, that's where you've chosen to have kitchen gardens. Annie, you used to have an allotment before, didn't you, Annie?
Yes, I did, but I didn't have any real security there. I didn't have a shed, and we had lots of thefts, and I had to cart everything backwards and forwards in my car. It just got too much.
So that's how it started off as, didn't it? So
yeah, that's 2013.
And then you kind of, so it's quite traditional looking then, but you can see already that you started doing the Annie thing where you started putting raised beds in and making things look really, really appealing because your garden's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Has someone got an echo on? No. But yeah, so what happened, Annie? How come you change? What made you decide and go to the dark side of the kitchen garden?
Hi!
There's lots of different reasons. I'd been working part-time because I was bringing up my 2 boys on my own, but then I got a full-time job and I was working long shifts. And that coupled with having to transport my wheelbarrow and all my tools backwards and forwards in the car, the thefts that we were having. I had a local criminal on the plot next to mine with a massive lockup that didn't do any gardening but went home every night with loads of produce.
Oh, that's not good, is it? I suppose that could be a pro to having a kitchen garden, I suppose, because I gotta be honest, I don't have much of that where I am. Do you, Gemma? Do you have much?
No, I don't at all.
Mayu, what about you? Do you ever have things being pinched by the dog or something?
No, very safe around here.
Yeah, it can happen, Annie. I know, it does happen, especially this time of year as well. People opportunists and they think, we'll break in the sheds and take the generators and things like that. But yeah, luckily, well, you don't have to have that problem now, Annie, because you're at home now with your beautiful kitchen garden, right?
Yeah, but the decision was forced on me in the end, really, because I had a plum tree in my garden that started to collapse.
Yeah.
And over time, it was starting to lean more and more, and it was leaning on my summer house. So in the end, my son, who's a tree surgeon, we decided to take it out. And once that was out, I could redesign my garden. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I just dig up the whole lawn? The boys are grown up now. They were sort of in their late teens, so they didn't want to play in the garden anymore.
Yeah.
So, well, that's where it started. So that's 2015.
Yeah. You've done a lot since then, though, because it's absolutely beautiful now, isn't it, your garden?
Well, that's Mark 1 of the kitchen garden, but the winter last, 22-23, I revamped the whole garden, moved the summer house to the other corner. And
because there was a polytunnel, wasn't there, on at the back?
Yeah, I loved my polytunnel. It's fantastic to grow in, but when you're sitting at your dining table and you're looking at a huge green plastic structure
in your garden,
was horrible. So yeah, I treated myself to my greenhouse.
When she say treated it's quite a posh greenhouse, isn't it, Annie? It is quite a nice one. That is a posh greenhouse. Lovely.
Well, it dominates the garden, and it dominates my view from the house. So I wanted it to look nice.
And I suppose if you decided not to garden anymore, that could be a nice little house, like nice little den in there, couldn't it, with some nice lights and things.
Well, yeah, I've got my bistro table and chairs in there at the moment, just while the winter. Right, just
Mayu, Irish royalty over here. I've actually got someone in my family that going back to the kitchen garden. So my niece Amber, she's actually kitchen garden. I'll show you now. So that's my niece Amber. You might have seen her. She's been on the channel as well. Oh, and she's got such a beautiful little kitchen garden. Look at her, bless her.
Oh,
so
look at that.
Yeah, I got her a little greenhouse for her birthday, I think. And then she had wheelbarrows and things all bought for me from her birthday. So she's building up her little kit and all, but she's got a lovely little sign on the gate. My brother's really good at that type of stuff. So yeah, she's really pleased with it as well. Yeah, she's only, she's a little Dutch, she is, but she's definitely in charge of our family, I tell you now. Yeah, but so she's on your side of the fence, but Mayu, yours. Let's talk about your kitchen garden / Irish palace. But look at this.
Will you
I love this. This is. I actually want to talk about this living roof that you've got as well. Did you put that on there, or?
Yeah, do you know what? That living roof came well before any of the kitchen garden. That was actually something. Yeah, absolutely. I was really intrigued by the idea of it, and the original surface that we had in the sort of bitumen stuff that you stick onto the just plywood, basically, that starts to leak. So rather than replacing the whole lot of it, I thought, we might as well just put a bit of pond liner across it and plant the green roof onto it, and it is stunning. So that was well before, the kitchen garden got built at all. Because that's our timber shed, so that structure needed to be supported.
Yes, it is. Well, I was just going to ask you that because I'd love to do something like that, but it's absolutely beautiful. But while we're on the subject, when you sent me these pictures, I did laugh a bit. Do you know what I'm going to say?
You dropped the bombshell last week. Yeah, you were so mean calling us posh.
Have you seen what this dog is doing?
He's doing nothing.
What's this dog doing, Mayu? I want to know. I've shamed this dog. I did laugh at this when I seen it. I thought, does Mayu know about this? Or it looks absolutely. And you've also got like a rose garden as well, though, haven't you, Mayu? That is
Oh wow!
God, look at that! It's absolutely. That is beautiful, Mayu.
It doesn't quite look like that now at the moment, because that was just before I sort of moved the Nepetus out of it.
Yeah.
But that was stunning. So that was the very first part of the garden that I started to develop, just to get a bit more of a greenery around the house.
That fair play, that's credit there though. Annie, have you ever thought about putting some more roses in up the climbing roses up the fences or anything? Or
no, I've got the one. But I'm actually quite limited.
Yeah.
What I can grow, because the opposite side of the garden, there's obviously the long fence, but it's in shade most of the day, so it's not really ideal. So I have to be very careful what I plant.
Mayu's got that luxury though of having, she could just go outside and think, I'll just plant something over there today, because. But that's a plus on us, though. That's a plus on us, though, in a Gemma. We have got the space. Like, as much as we are limited to the amount of plot size, but it's an extension of our plot, really, isn't it? Of our garden. So we have got our extra bit on top that we can grow things extra there. That's what I love. Thank you so much, Locke. Locke is so good, honestly, to this channel. I just need to bring this up as well. So I need to say thank you to everyone who did donate to this channel last week, and I was really, really shocked that you did it. I really am grateful. I actually bought myself a really nice chair for these lives because my back was absolutely killing from these lives, and I also put some money towards a new screen so I can actually, I'm not going to miss the chats hopefully tonight. So thank you so much for everyone who did that, because it's never asked for, but I really is appreciated. And yeah, I just want to say thanks. But Gemma, what's your plans for next year? What are you gonna get to on the plot?
Well, I've just put my fruit cage up. So I've got a brand new fruit cage, so that needs to be planted up. I haven't got any plans area as in like changing anything now, because everything's pretty set now. I've got my beds, I've got my arch, I've got my fruit cage, I've got my polytunnels, everything like that. You got
your grapevine up, Gemma.
Grapevine.
Called Danny.
So Danny's been planted into the polytunnel. So yeah, so now I can actually say my plot is complete. I've now got my
I don't believe that's ever the case, but
no,
I do think that you've got the ground, the structures
done. So now I can really think about what I want to, what the actual plans growing wise are next year, because I think a lot of things that I've been doing since I got the plot have been like adding things like polytunnels and that sort of thing. So it'll be nice to plan the good stuff.
Trying to find some more photographs, Gemma, because obviously you've been on the channel before, so we've kind of I noticed I've noticed a pattern. Every time I try to take a photograph, you seem to pout on everything that I was just trying to get some pictures of inside the polytunnel, and then I found another one again, and I thought,
talking. Oh my goodness!
I think that I've now understood why your channel's grown really well. This is appealing. This is to the viewers. I can see
that is me talking. You've got me mid talk. You've got me mid saying something.
But I did notice that was doing it a lot. But how is Danny the grapevine going? Is
Danny's
he going all right?
Absolutely fine. He's settling in absolutely fine. I checked on him yesterday, and he's doing absolutely fine. I do need to put the support on the inside for him. I haven't decided what I'm going to actually do yet to support the vine on the inside. So that's something I need to think about. Is Danny frozen?
I think so.
I don't know if I think he has. No, he's gone. Is he going to come back? Here he is. Hello.
Oh, I think I lost connection or something. God, it was the grapevine that did I freeze?
You froze, yeah. You're back.
Getting dizzy up
Gemma,
here.
Gemma, you seem to have frozen as well now.
Have I frozen?
No.
This is a bit like University Challenge.
I know. I'm getting motion sickness from moving around the screen.
I can't see any of.
I can see all of you. Can everyone see us?
Yep.
Yeah, I can, but I can't see. None of you are moving now for some reason.
Everyone's moving.
We're definitely moving.
Am I moving?
Yes, you're moving.
Gemma, you're going to have to take over this a second. I'm going to leave and I'll come back in. Oh, no, can I leave? Can I leave my own life?
I don't know. I think you can.
Okay, I think I'm just going to carry on and, I can see myself moving, but I can't see any of you. So I'm just going to keep on going. I can see Annie and all on the other screen. So let the show must go on. I don't know what's going on here, but Gemma, you've frozen. Everyone is frozen. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, you frozen on the screen, but I can see you all in the little window. So anyways, going on. Mayu, your polytunnel that you've got, it's a hard shell one, right?
Yeah, that's polycarbonate. Yeah.
So I've said this before on lives before. Like, I really, really want a polycrub. I know yours isn't a polycrub, but it's similar.
Yeah, it's basically the
isn't it?
same thing. Yeah, it just doesn't have the timber structure inside.
Right.
It's just all galvanized, sort of thin metal structure. Yeah.
I really, really want one of these, though. I really want a polycrub, but I have considered what you've got. So do you think that they're worth it? Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I literally this evening coming home, there was some freak storm that went through the garden last night.
Yeah.
It ripped out all my hoops, twisted all the butterfly netting, and took one of the big field gates off a hinge. So it must have been a very freaky storm. I'm quite happy that I wasn't at home when it happened, because it can be it can sound very scary when it happens.
Do you get quite bad weather where you are?
Yeah, yes, because we're quite elevated.
Yeah.
And the reason, if you see that slatted wall there, that's actually just built for the southwest corner of the site. So the polytunnel, or the greenhouse, would say, tucks behind it a little bit, and because it's a really rounded shape as well. And it was advertised straight away as a strong version, and it has a 6 mil polycarbonate sheeting on it. It's really, so far, has stood to the test of times. All right.
You've done quite a lot, though, haven't you, on this since you had the garden, though? Like, you have done quite a bit. Like, this is how it was when you moved in, was it?
Yeah, that's it. So it's the opposite direction you're looking from.
Yeah.
Towards the timber shed, would say that's on the left-hand side now there.
But look at
so
the difference. Look how clean that is. Look how beautiful. It never lasts like that, does it?
No, but that was just built like that.
I remember when I did all the beds in the grapevine garden like that, and it looked so good. It looks so good when you first do it, when you clean it all out, and then I'm shaming your dog all the time. I wanted the wrong, but yeah. Is this how it is now? Fully, like, you're not thinking of extending anymore or anything?
I am thinking going more towards the field, so not to the side of the greenhouse, but to the sort of front of the house. So from that picture onto the right-hand side, let's say, because our site is so big, you see. So I sort of had to put some kind of a restrictions on myself, because you could get so easily overwhelmed by the size of it.
Yeah, definitely. Because you've got quite a lot of land around you and all. I think that's the best. You've made that intimate as well, haven't you? Like, that's your space.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's
and
really
that slatted wall, it does help a lot from, if we get a really severe easterly cold winds, because the southwest winds are the storm winds. So there's a big force behind them, but the easterly winds are cold winds. So that slatted wall helps to block those off.
Yeah. Gemma, your polytunnel, how is that? How's it going on now? Are you all settled in now?
Amazing, yeah. I've got one half of it planted up now. And obviously I've got the grapevine in there as well. So yeah, it's looking really, oh God, that looks a mess, that picture now. I've just cleaned that out.
Look all right.
I've actually cleaned everything out there yesterday, because I'd got into the habit of, because it's so easy to just push the wheelbarrow in, and like you're leaving the allotment, so you just push everything into the polytunnel, close the door and go. So I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing that. So yesterday I had a big tidy up, tidied out the shed, and made sure that the polytunnel's not going to be my new dumping ground, because that is what happens to me. I do sort of have that area that becomes that dumping ground. I don't know if anyone's the same or if it's just me.
Everyone's got that, even Mayu. I bet you Mayu's got a right messy corner somewhere. Have you, Mayu? Be honest.
Oh, I do.
No.
Oh,
you
yeah.
do?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you should see this.
No.
Everyone's got one of those corners where you think, where does that go? Except for Annie. Annie, you've got a place for everything, haven't you, Annie? Even in your greenhouse.
I've got a place for all the junk, yes.
You've got, in your greenhouse, I've never seen a greenhouse so organised with labelled baskets. Everything fits in place. You've really thought about the storage and everything in there, though. So, Annie, you are a bit of a queen for storage in here. You do love it.
I think that's, again, because it's so dominant from the house. When you're sitting eating dinner and you're looking out the garden, although I can see my beds, it's the greenhouse that dominates. And when it was an awful mess, it used to really wind me up.
Yeah.
And it just got on my nerves, so I had to organise it in the end.
It looked. I gotta be honest though. I don't think I could. If I was going to have a greenhouse now, it would be like that. That's the greenhouse that I would really like. A nice wooden one.
But
I know.
If you look through that picture, through the greenhouse, you can see my shed next to the house. Can you just?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a gap down the side of the shed and the fence, and that's what it doesn't get shown.
Is that where you? No, because you've got like a triage area as well, haven't you? Where you call the triage.
Oh, I had no, outside the gate, on the driveway, I had what did I call it? The cloud suite, because every cloud has a silver lining. That's because I thought my potatoes had got mosaic virus, so I took them out of the garden and separated them from everything else.
You've done really well though, Annie, for the space that you've got. You must admit that you've used every single space really well there.
It's only 8 meters by 6 meters, the actual growing space. And in that space, I've got the summer house and the greenhouse. So it's actually quite limited. I do have to juggle with it.
Yeah. I personally think though that it's a nice growing space though, isn't it? Like you've got enough space around there for, like, when you have an allotment, it can take over a bit. Like there's so many areas and so many spaces that you feel like you have to fill because you feel like you've rented the space and it'd be a waste. That's why, like I've got my pond on the fig and olive. Like I did always want one, and I think that's a plus for having allotments, that you can have that space. The downside is, I would admit that at least you having a kitchen garden, you is yours. It can never be taken from you. That space is yours. And like, as much as, I pay my rent for my allotment, at some point it could be, you could be told that you need to move or change and stuff. So there is always that risk. Like my pond, it's actually bigger than that. We're not going to go down that road today, Gemma. But this pond is quite a big pond, and I'm even thinking about making it bigger. And I couldn't have done this. I've got one in the garden, similar size to this, but I couldn't just have it just for a nature pond, because, like you said, Annie, you want it to look really, really nice. And that pond sometimes it does attract a lot of insects and things, and I wouldn't really want that in my garden all the time when I'm trying to relax and stuff. So. But the plus, I will say, except for when you've got a kitchen garden, if it is confined and more of a city kitchen garden, is that you do lose the views, don't you? Like that's one benefit. Like I'm really lucky where I am that I've got beautiful mountains all around. What's yours like, Mayu? Is yours quite concealed?
No, it's really open. Because our site is quite big, and we're in the middle of countryside.
Yeah.
So I suppose we look down the valley and up another hill, because we're in sort of a little mountain range. So it's lovely. Yeah, it's a nice big open space. But obviously with open space comes also the winds and the exposure that the garden gets. Yeah.
Because you've obviously made your space small, like intimate, like you said, and you're getting excited about expanding as well. That's kind of similar to what I had with the Grapevine Garden. I had that. I felt like I got it to a stage where I thought, I don't want to change anything, or if I did, it would spoil already what I've got. But the issue about if you expand is that you can make it less intimate then, though that's the only concern. But
at the moment, what I'm doing, because that's literally... Oh, that's actually tonight's video. Sorry.
No, after you've watched us live, pop over to Spuds and Roses. She's got a new video out. Let's boost the
just
views
this
a bit.
evening.
Yeah.
But I'm actually just thinking of moving some of the bigger plants out from the kitchen, because I actually literally went out this evening to measure the space that I have for the kitchen garden. And if Annie said, yours was 8 meters by 6 meters, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, so mine is 8 by 14, only the kitchen garden side of it. So it's not huge at all. But if I would be able to take out, let's say, like the pumpkins or squashes, I will actually have more growing space then for the smaller bits.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of putting them maybe onto the field side then.
That's
ramble away.
That's the thing with me as well with an allotment. Like the fig and olives look like a jungle, absolute jungle this summer. And I was really, really happy with how that plot, turned around, and it was more than I ever planned. Spring was beautiful. I had so many purples and greens going through the garden. But once I put the pumpkins in, it took over everything. And it was my own fault. I knew what I was putting in, but it trampled a lot of things. I think sometimes it'd be nice just to have a plot just for pumpkins, So I think that'd be a great idea. Jem, you're going to be growing more pumpkins next year, though, aren't you? But you're going to be doing them over arches because you've done that this year, didn't you?
I did it this year. Yeah, I've got 3.
Oh, look at her there.
Wow.
Oh.
So yeah, I had pumpkins growing up, but to be honest, my pumpkins, I did quite a few, but some of them did better than others. So I'll be choosing a select variety to do next year rather than doing loads of different varieties. I'll be doing the ones that I know do well.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and I get tempted all the time by the colours, but sometimes you need to be realistic and think, am I really going to eat these? Like there's only so many pumpkins you can eat, and I grew so many, and I had a beautiful display of pumpkins, but there's only so many you can have. And the worst thing is people were asking for me. I had so many people messaging me saying, can we buy the pumpkins off you? They want them for displays and things. But I felt like I was splitting up the little plot family and all that. I just felt like I couldn't. But I agree. I think next year, I'm going to be growing more ones that I know I enjoy. I know that I use. And yeah, I just think they'd be better for flea, like the Ichiki-kuri one, that's a big favourite, isn't it? And everyone seems to like that one.
Nice,
I really like the little table queen ones because they're quite small, and one vine, I was getting like 5 or 6 off one vine.
Yeah.
And because they're so small, you can put the vines quite close together, so you could get so many from that rather than doing, like I did. What did I do? Oh, it was snowman. I did snowman, and I've got one pumpkin off each vine. And two of them were just tiny, and one of them was like a good size. But I thought all the space that they took up, I could have done something and got more from that. That I actually, smaller size, easier to eat.
I did the baby boo and the Jack B.
Yeah.
Jack B Little ones. I did. It's upside down there, but I did those, and they were lovely. They were actually really nice. I scooped them out a little bit, and and they were so sweet as well. I actually scooped them out, put some cinnamon inside, and then roasted them, and they were absolutely beautiful. So I do think that sometimes you think about getting these huge pumpkins, but unless they're quite meaty ones, they're a bit of a waste, really. Mayu, what's your favourite pumpkin if you had to pick one to?
Well, you see, I'm using my boys as my husband and my son. I'm using them as my test bunnies because they haven't got a clue what I'm growing. So I'm literally, if I'm not sure about a variety, or if I'd rather not do the same as Gemma said, rather than doing so many different ones, just pick a couple of them, I would cook them together. Let's say just roast them all together. So they can have those individual flavors, and I put them in front of them. I do it with tomatoes. I did it with pumpkins. What was the latest one? I asked them. Jesus. Oh, potatoes. I did it actually with the potatoes. And sorry, it's only in today's video. And it's the same thing. I literally just asked them, okay, if I would just grow one variety, which one would you prefer to eat? That's because it all comes down to eating it.
It does, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. That's such a good way of doing it, actually having it all and saying which one.
Yeah.
That's such a good way of doing it. I think I'm going to do that, actually. That's a really good tip.
Now, the only thing sometimes they say, if they would be eating it just as it is, it's still lovely. But if they would have to choose between two of them, they would choose such and such because of this and this. And I really appreciate that feedback from them, because at the end of the day, what's the point of me growing it if they're not going to eat it? Yeah.
Annie, you do quite a lot with what you have, though, don't you? Like I've seen you on yours. You'll pull out a few things out the garden, and you can make such lovely meals with them, though, can't you? Like you're quite resourceful with what you grow in your garden. You do think about what you're growing. You don't just grow it just because it looks nice. You need because of that space is valuable, you do tend to grow things that you're going to cut.
I do like to experiment, but Mr. Google's quite handy. So just whatever you've harvested, I just type in that recipes, and it's amazing what crops up, and it gives me lots of ideas. Because otherwise, you end up just cooking the same old meals over and over. So it's nice to have a variety.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find some of the questions. So we've got a couple coming through. If there is a question bar there, for some reason, I know someone else on another live on another channel, they couldn't access the Q&A questions on there. So if you have put one in the live on the Q&A, for some reason, I've got the same issue as well. I can't seem to access them. So if you have answered a question there, pop it in capitals, and the moderators, Linda's on as well, she can repeat it just in case. But I have got a couple coming through. So Cheryl has said, I've got hedgehog houses, and I know Linda and the Feel Good Garden on Outside's got some. But has anyone else got any hedgehog houses? Annie, you have hedgehogs, don't you? In yours, I've seen them on your channel. They pop into your garden, don't they?
I had up to 6 a night until the building site, when they demolished all the hedges and the trees and put in the long fence line.
So they don't come now?
I've only got a couple that come now, but I think I've got a nest under the shed and one under the summer house.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually put any hedgehog houses in, but I've got a feeding station. So
yeah, I've seen that.
My trail camera is pointing at the feeding station, and that's what I record.
Yeah.
But you get to recognise them over time, especially with the night vision, because you can see all the patterns. They've got different patches, light and dark. So
I've got 2 trail cams. I've got one on each plot, and on my channel I introduced 5 rescue hedgehogs onto the plot this year, and I can tell just from the start, which one is Archie and which one is, I just know which one is which. And it's really funny. I would just by just how even silly things like how they walk and stuff. Like, I know Archie was the latest that he popped in, and he's the biggest character, and they're actually really, really noisy. They grunt and grunt and grunt, and Archie was
if they fight, oh my goodness, the noise they make.
Yeah, there's Archie there, and he, oh God, they're so territorial, but they're so friendly, but they are a little bit spiky. And I just absolutely, I loved putting them on the plot. And I've got, I know they live under the shed. I've got them under the IBC tank living. And hopefully because they do travel for miles every night. It's crazy how much they do. And I would seriously recommend anyone in the garden. Maybe, Mayo, you could do a couple of hedgehog houses on your plot, your... Just on the outside borders, no, that'd be quite nice.
I know we do have hedgehogs, but the only way unfortunately, you just see a lot of them as roadkill.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, we would have had a boxer dog before who passed away during the COVID years, but she would have carried the hedgehogs into the house.
Oh wow.
That's the only time we ever saw a live hedgehog, but no, they were all fine.
Maybe if I'm trying to encourage you to pop a few out, so maybe if you did, they might stay there and not go pop out to the road. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose the fields are huge as well in here, so there's it's all open space.
So someone has said, looking at the gardens, do you think they are more productive per square foot than an allotment? So I'm guessing that's going to Annie and Mayu.
I think I'm more economical with my planting.
Yeah.
I think carefully what I'm going to grow. I don't grow anything that I don't particularly like. You'll rarely see me grow any cabbages. I hate cabbage.
That's my favourite thing to grow.
No, cabbage when I was at school was boiled to death and stank. And
put you off.
I can't eat it. I can't abide it, so I won't waste my space on it. I have grown butternut squash when I had the allotment, but I don't feel I've really got the room to grow it now. So I'm very careful what I grow. I grow just what I like.
That's good.
What about you, Mayu? Do you feel like you use all your space, or do you feel like there's times where...
No, I'm definitely still not using all my space.
Yeah.
The only thing is that I suppose maybe I don't let the weeds grow. I might have still empty planters, empty spaces. I'm not bulking it out as much as I could, but it just usually comes down to time management, really.
Yeah, there's another question that's come through. Jem, we'll go to us though as well. Like, I feel the same with the allotment. I feel like that could be a plus to kitchen gardeners, that like Annie and Mayu could probably pop out as well in the middle of the night and check for slugs and things like that. I don't do that often, you know. I've got like lights on my plot and stuff, and there is times where I've been really protective of things. I tend to put like nematodes down in the spring, and they tend to. But there is times where I do pop to my plot. Like I've got lights over there as well that you know, that I can go over if I need to. But I mean, there's only so much you can do to try and protect those pests, really. But you've got that benefit, really, that me and Gemma, when we leave our plot, it is dog eat dog. It is dog eat dog on that plot. That the things come over, and you'll see people, foxes jumping on the nets. Foxes jump on the nets, terrible, and things like that. But I don't have that problem and stuff. But another plus, I suppose, and I have to admit this about the kitchen garden, is that you've got all the resources that we have to think about as well. Like with me, with my solar power and us collecting water in winter and things like that. Like, you haven't got to worry about that type of stuff. But like, you know, like I had to spend out extra for solar power and just to have things growing. And my polytunnel needed lights for not all the time, but like for now, if I went over now to quickly harvest some things ready for tomorrow, I would, you know, I'd be in the dark with a torch if I want to. That, but you have got the resources of having electric, water, all there really if you needed it, haven't you? So I suppose there is another
very posh, very posh.
Well, Mayu has got a really posh kitchen garden, so has Annie. So if I was going to pick good posh kitchen gardens, it'd be you two. So. But me and Gemma, we just rough it, don't we, Gem? We have to rough it.
I think I rough it more than you, Danny. I think I haven't got solar panels. I haven't got anything high tech at all. I have not. You have got. If there's a gadget for it.
Yeah, I do like doing those things. Like I really do enjoy. Even before the channel, I was always thinking about those things. Like, you know. Because I was over there most of the day, and I think, oh, my phone, and I'd be using my phone to record back then. So I think, God, how can I charge? Like now in the summer, my plot not only produces food, but it stores all the energy, and it just doesn't do what an allotment's supposed to do. And I'm lucky for that. Like I can plug in my camera batteries, all my power tools, and I take them all over there. And if I'm there just potching in the allotment for the day, they just trickle in energy, and I never ever charge my batteries at home for the summer. I just leave them there when I go over the plot, and they're fully charged within an hour or so. So I'm quite lucky, really, that I can use the resources that I've got for you know, to support the channel in that way. So I am quite lucky. But again, it was a cost that I had to spend out. But we are all kind of in a. Mayu actually made this, so I'm really grateful. So it kind of shows people where we kind of are.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Oh, no, I'm not there. I'm actually where my face is. I'm right bang in the middle of East Anglia.
So you're...
where my nose is.
You're right in the middle of your nose. Well, I'm pretty much where I... Yeah, thanks, Mayo. But yeah, I'm pretty much there, Gem. I'm pretty much there. But you could be a good moderator, Mayo, if you wanted to, because I've got Linda now, and this is the sort of stuff that Linda would do. It's really impressive. I've never actually thought about where everyone all is, and
no, that's really good to see, actually. Like, because we're all quite like south, really, aren't we? I guess.
Yeah, I actually thought Annie was a little bit further up than that, but it was quite interesting. So our weathers pretty much would be kind of similar, really.
Yeah,
except you probably get the winds more, don't you, Mayu? You probably get really bad winds there.
Yeah. The Atlantic Ocean is just about 40 kilometers away. So yeah, we do get quite fierce storms.
What about you, Annie?
Yeah,
I'm right on the fens, so we've got open prairies, and there's not a bump in the ground. We have beautiful skies at night. But when the wind blows,
I personally think that we get quite bad wind where I am, and it just shoots through the mountains. But I actually just seen a comment just now saying, do you call those mountains? They're just like little hills. But to me, they're big mountains, and I think I've got a picture. Yeah, I just shown the picture of the background. Gemma, you love this, don't you? You love where I live. You love that.
Well, I haven't got any views like that at all. I mean, I've got the A3, or I haven't got that sort of view at all. So to me, that's just like paradise, literally. And my mum likes that as well, as you know. She loves it.
Yeah, she comments on every time. There is times, Gemma's mum, I've actually purposely filmed the mountains just because I feel like I haven't given her that little kick for a couple of weeks and stuff.
Both do, because we're the same. We live in sort of the same sort of area. We haven't got anything like that where we live. So it's really special, and you get to see that every day. So you're so lucky.
Yeah, so Steve has said, just sub to Mayu, already following the other. So thank you, Steve.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Yeah, there you are, Mayu. You've been paid now. You can go now. You've had your sub. So someone has said we have a lot of badgers on our farm, so really see hedgehogs. That's quite sad, really, isn't it? But that's the thing. The hedgehog needs to be. So someone has actually commented. I can't, for some reason, my chat is playing a bit funny here as well. It's not show. Oh, that'd be because they're starred. Ignore me. So someone has actually put up saying, what do they give hedgehogs to eat? So I'm going to actually talk about this because I feel like it's something that there's a lot of misinformation about it. And people do seem to think that they'll put milk down for them. And that's actually one of the worst things you could put down for a hedgehog. And I don't know what it was. I was actually told that when I was a child, we'll put some milk outside. But they cannot digest it and actually makes them really, really poorly. And it can be dangerous for them. So I just tend to put them out little bits of cat food. But then I've noticed now on my trail camera, I've got half the blooming cul-de-sac opposite. There's cats coming over now, and the poor hedgehogs, they're not having nothing. They're not having nothing at all. But you can actually buy hedgehog food. I buy it from that online store. That's also a forest.
But it is extortionate, isn't it?
But it is extortionate. Cat biscuits are okay. Cat biscuits are quite good.
I was just going to say, is it just the same as like a cat or dog biscuit? Like
they recommend cat kibble and particularly kitten because it's softer on their teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Dog food is fine. Dog kibble's fine, but it's much tougher. So that's why they always recommend the kitten kibble, and that's what I always buy.
Yeah. I think this Mark on my allotment, he does a lot of hedgehog rescue as well, and he kind of said, you don't really need to feed it. It's nice that you can. I think in an urban environment, it's a little bit, you feel like you want to do your little bit more for them. But where I am, there's plenty for them around to eat and stuff. And I've never seen a skinny hedgehog in my life. Never in my life have I seen a skinny hedgehog.
We've got a hedgehog rescue in my village.
Yeah.
And they said to me it's a fallacy that they eat slugs. They'll eat them, but as an absolute last resort. So if you think having hedgehogs in your garden are going to cure the slug population, it won't.
No, I think they will have a little nibble on them and stuff, but you are right. I mean, who does really like eating a slug? And they say about frogs as well. It is beneficial to have frogs in. They will eat the little small one stuff, but they actually don't really enjoy them that much. Another question is, what do people think about trench composting? I've done it in a few years now and it's worked. I am no dig, but I'm actually going to be doing a video soon about trenching because I've got a new bed. So it's not basically, I can't call it no dig trenching because it's not actually, once I fill the bed up, there won't be no dig anymore. But because it's empty, I'll show you now on this picture. So my kitchen garden, so I'm actually converting over. So I've been running you all down, but I'm actually converting a part of this plot to a kitchen garden as well. So this large one here, there's going to be another really long bed in between the wooden ones you can see and the metal ones. And that I'm going to do that as trenching. I'm going to fill it full of rotten matter all the way through the winter and just keep layering little bits of compost on so that it obviously, I don't want to attract loads of pests. The cat's on the screen, Jem.
My little girl.
So,
sorry.
no, it's okay. So I'm basically I'm going to be basically adding all my veg in there, Christmas veg and things like that, and keep layering it with compost and the scraps, and then hopefully I can then, grow in that then in the spring. So fingers crossed that happens. But yeah, so trenching. Do any of you trench? Do any of you dig?
I have just started in my garden because I've got really heavy clay soil and it is just waterlogged at the moment. So I am actually sort of starting I have sort of done a trench and I've started to put some part rotted compost in. I'm going to be adding more. So I'm sort of doing it, but for a different reason. But yes, I am starting to sort of do that somewhere where I'm having real problems in the garden.
That's the thing is though, a lot of people now are converting over to no dig, and there's been a debate about whether or not, can you really be fully no dig at all times? And I know there's a debate about that, but I try and do my best for it. But there are certain benefits when I've seen this trenching. I've seen the produce that come out from those runner beans after they've done the trenching method. And I mean, I remember when I first came onto the plot down the bottom by the grapevine, I was the only person who just walked on with all these nice raised beds. I was like, I'm doing no dig. And I was like the Antichrist. Honestly, they were all traditional allotmenteers, digging in, putting everything in the ground. And I was the only one. And now, slowly, there's quite a few that I've actually converted over by seeing that is less hassle. And it's just less effort. You just keep the weeding and
you've got to be realistic. You have
to be realistic about it.
Even when you're planting something, you're digging to a degree, aren't you?
Yeah.
But I've done a bean trench before now, and I did a video on it as well.
Yeah.
I didn't put scraps in it. I put rotted horse manure.
Yeah. There's Annie's kitchen garden there. That's quite a nice one though, Annie. And you've used a lot of space up there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Annie, I took it off the screen before you could see it. So you have done trenching in the past. So Annie, did you find that they worked out okay, or did it?
Yeah, they're good. But then we all put down sort of fertilizers and amendments, don't we? Anyway, so and we top up even for no dig. You're topping up a layer of compost and manure.
I think
every year, so it all has the same benefit.
I think with no dig, there is more of a costly thing about it. But then I look at another way as well, is that I used to spend that time, and it's time with the dig, a lot more effort and manual work. And I think that time now I spend I could be doing other things. So I actually justify spending that a little bit more. Maya, you're no dig. Are you all fully no dig?
Yeah, I actually started with no dig as such with the rose garden, and I didn't really know about no dig. It was just
oh, really?
Just keep mulching it. Yeah, it's less weeding. Yeah.
So someone has
I never would have dug stuff over anyway. In the kitchen garden, it wasn't because we have heavy clay as well, and it's just pointless. You're going to break your own back before you break the ground.
You can't actually dig it, can you?
So someone have said 37 likes on this live, but there's 77 watching. So click that little like button down there now, because it actually does help the channel by pushing it to other people on the live. So do me a favor, go and click that like. It costs you nothing to do. That'll be lovely. And if you do, Maya will sing us a song from Ireland. Does anyone, here you go, another question. Does anyone have any recommendations for reasonably priced raised beds metal? Mine, I found mine weren't too bad, but I was lucky. I was a garden member for Sutton's, and then I think they were too. Now, don't get me wrong, they're still costly compared to buying a wooden raised bed or making one out of pallets. There's no question about that at all. But I think mine were, and this is not me trying to plug them at all, because I bought them all. I had to buy them all. I think I paid 100. I think they were two for £150, but then you get 20% off or something. Plus, you have their discount because you're a member, free delivery and all. I think it worked out they were about £60 each. But my justification is that they're going to last a lot longer. And it rains a lot in Wales, so I'm hoping that they'll they'll last a lot long. You've got a metal raised bed as well, though, Mayu, haven't you? I've seen one on your plot.
Yeah, I got mine from Vida XL, just like an Amazon type of a system.
Funny enough, I bought 4 for them as well.
But I would keep an eye on their prices, because I would refuse to pay some of the price. The prices can go up and down like twice the price within weeks. Depends on how their stocks are. So I think I would not pay more than about 100 as well. And my one of them is quite long. It's like 2.4 meters, I think. Actually, the oval ones are quite long ones, and I have a couple of circular ones. But I'd be saying it just has to be a reasonable price. And that's the reason why I moved one of those metal oval ones out of the kitchen garden into the greenhouse, because their price currently at that time was too high. It's just not paying that money.
I think sometimes, though, like you said, it's the stock levels as well and stuff like. I actually bought. Funny enough, I bought 4. I bought 4 of those. That brand that you said, and same sort of. I bought from the same place, and I had them. They were a steal at the time. They were really.
You can get really good bargains depending on the time of the year. Their stocks.
They're the ones that I've got
like
down. I've got them down. On the Grapevine Garden, I got 4 of them. There's actually one that I've got in the shed that I've never built that I should really take up and use on the Fig and Olive. So, but these ones I've had for a long time, and I've had them since I started the channel. And fair play, they've lasted a long time. I will say that for them. But like you said, they are costly, but it's that thing, you put the money out, and then hopefully, my understanding as well is that if I ever decide to leave the allotment, I can take them with me, and I can take them to a garden, or if I ever have one of those kitchen gardens, I can always just put them all in a row, and they'll be, jolly for the day. But I will always say the best thing I ever did was putting in these metal raised beds. I bought all this wood from a salvage yard, and it was an investment, but they lasted. I haven't even had to stain them or anything. They've been lasting for years. So, and nothing lasts forever, really, do they? So, thank you for that question, Cheryl. So, So as Digwell just said, Birdie's beds are 2 for 149 on Sutton's, and I think it works out about £120. I think I paid for the 2, which, thanks to the viewers, they actually did. People were putting money in because they and that's what I spent, because I didn't know what to do. So there was another question that I wanted to answer. I think it was for there was one for Annie somewhere. I'm sure there was. So someone have said, let's start questions. How many moles will survive the winter? Hopefully not as many as this year, I'm telling you now, because the moles are taking over. Does anyone else have a problem with moles on their plots or gardens? Because Gemma, you're so lucky, honestly. No. I feel like they should pay my rent, honestly. Annie, are you okay with moles? You don't have them?
No.
What about you, Mayu? Does Ireland have moles? I don't think does Ireland have moles? I've read this once. I actually read something. They do. Well, you let me know. Someone have said, I'm new to the allotment. Can you explain exactly what trenching is? Does anyone want to do this? Go on, Annie.
Well, my interpretation was, sorry, I'm going to cough. Where I grew a row of runner beans, where I was going to plant them, I dug a small trench. It was no more than about a foot deep, and I just filled it with horse manure.
Yeah.
Covered it up, left it, and then when it came to planting, just planted into it. So it was just like mending that area of soil. But other people do the same. They dig the trench and then they fill it with garden waste and kitchen waste and leave it all winter to rot.
And I've actually seen people, though, that they dig the trench, they throw it all in, they just put a little bit of soil on, and if they put in fresh manure or rotted manure in, they leave it open as well. I've seen people leave it open over the winter to let the frost get at it, and then so it's basically just digging a big hole in a big trough, really.
Trough, yeah.
And then just filling it full of your waste, and then probably January, February time, I'd say. Fill it over, let it carry on rotting. And most people use that for their beans or things that they're going to be growing, like nitrogen or, you know, nitrogen-rich things. So
yeah, because beans are hungry feeders, aren't they?
Really, and people always say like, oh, my beans are not doing good, but they really are greedy. And they're like one of my favorite things to grow. And while we're talking about beans, I don't know if all three of you have used these yet. Maya, you might have, because you always grow really posh things. She does. She grows really posh things. You'll see on her channel. Honestly, her children eat have okra for breakfast. So I on my channel this year, I grew the Greek Gigante beans, and I know if you're watching this and you contacted me about the Greek Gigante beans, if you want some, I actually was growing some and I harvested some and saved some for next year. And on top of that, I kept some on there, and then we had the horrible winter and they just all rotted, and the squirrels actually pinched some of it. But I actually went to TK Maxx the other day, and it actually says on the back you can do this as well. So I actually bought this whole big bag of Greek Gigante beans for £3 on sale. And it says on the back that you can either cook with them, or on the back it just says pop some in some organic soil and you'll be good to go. So if anyone wants
TK Maxx.
A TK Maxx.
Mayu,
have you grown?
No, I haven't, but I've always, every year I'm thinking I want to grow white beans.
I'll send you some of these. Gemma, do you want some as well?
Yeah, I will. Please.
We're going to have a Greek of Annie. Anyone else now? I'll put the bids up. But yeah, if anyone wants any Greek Gigante beans, let me know. I bought these. I already got mine saved, but I've got a pile here that people can have some. And I'm not going to send to every single person because I'm a student nurse. But there's plenty here I can post out as well as you're in the UK and stuff I can send. But yeah, so I just thought I'd pop that on there that I have got some more Greek Gigantes if anyone wants any, because I did have to reply back to a few people saying the squirrels ate most of them. But yeah, is anyone put any more questions in? Let's have a look. I don't know what's happened with this question bar thing, but it's not working today. Yeah, so Digwell, that's what I just said. Like, I put the question thing up, but for some reason, it's not letting me.
No. Mine's not refreshing at all.
Yeah, I'll try it again. And maybe that'll work. So if anyone wants to try and start popping a question in, have a go now as well. But for some reason, I can't seem to see the questions, so they're all hidden. So the only ones I'm doing is the ones in the chat. So I am really sorry about that. I can't really see your questions. Let's go back to the chat and see how you're going. So Annie, I was speaking to you earlier about archways because me and Gemma's got archways. Mayu, do you use a lot of archways on your garden, or?
I have a couple of metal ones that I joined up to make like a sort of a semi-tunnel thing with cane poles. But no, what I've been trying to grow on them haven't been grown so far. So maybe next year I'll get the sweet peas to actually go over them.
I actually found the same thing. I bought a few of those archways. Before I had the grapevine plot, I used to have another plot, and I was restricted for space. Only had a half plot, and I put about 5 or 6 in a row, and it looked lovely. But for some reason, because of the powder coating of the paint and the wind, it just kept knocking them off, and they just couldn't. But then, ironically, then I gave that to the plot opposite, and they grew roses all over it, and it was perfect. But for some reason, the beans. But I've seen other people say that it worked out okay, but for some reason,
I think if you grow roses up them, the roses are got more strength than the arch. So rather the arch not supporting the roses are actually supporting the arch.
Yeah, because those metal things are very flimsy. Like yours is really solid one, Danny. Yours is beautiful, you know.
My one's just a really cheap one. It was like, I think they were about, I don't know how much they are on, it was like one of the online stores I got it from. And I think the charge was like, they were really, really cheap. I put 3 of them together. And I grew pumpkins up them, and they did really, really well one side. But I did beans the other, and they didn't do well. And they're both, like, the arch is like south facing, so both sides got like the same. So I don't know. So pumpkins did, but the beans didn't. The pumpkins went right the way over.
I didn't. I've never grown anything over. I grew flat. I think I did. I didn't put actual flowers or anything over mine, but this year I think I'm going to try. I think I'm going to try and put something better over that archway, something that will make it look a bit more nicer. But I actually bought that for just to celebrate the start of that plot. It was kind of like I've started the fig and olive plot, so I wanted a new entrance for it, and it's a beautiful archway. It really is. But I've actually got another archway down on the grapevine garden that I actually want to show. Like, you can just see it on the right here, and I actually built that. We had a tree that fell down on site, and they chopped down. They had to chop it all down because it was literally hanging over someone's allotment plot, and I just didn't feel happy about the fact that they were just going to chop it up. So I took it all. I took the whole tree, and I turned it into this archway. It looks a bit like a Freddie Flintstones, doesn't it? Like type of archway, and that is the strongest archway I've ever had. But I am going to try and grow over that next year. I think I'm going to try and. But I'm going to maybe try and put it as like a rose arch or something. And then hopefully then I can. But the other one is more of a oval shape. And that was kind of an arc shape. That was more because I wanted it to mimic the polytunnel. So I was looking for ages to try and get an archway. There it is there. That when you look through that, it would mimic the polytunnel. Why I think like that, why my brain thinks like that, I don't know. But I do think that arches are a thing that you can use on an allotment, and they're good for spacing. But Annie, you said you struggle because of the sizes and the beds, right?
Yeah, because I've laid out all my beds, so they're between about 57 and 62 centimetres apart, so that you can get wheelbarrow up. But those metal arches, they're 1 metre apart. So if I was to put one in, they'd be part way in the bed, and I don't want to do that. I want to plant right up to the edge so that my beans are actually growing over the path.
Yeah.
So I construct all mine with canes.
So they're pretty much like that in there, Annie, like Gemma's got there.
Yeah. So
yeah,
my pathway is half that.
Yeah, I think you can manipulate them a little bit on the top, but you have to be careful. And I've done that before I actually built them.
I think if it was to narrow them, it'd make them really tall.
Yeah. Or maybe try and build one, Annie. That'll be quite a nice little hobby for you over there.
I like what the Americans do. We can get cattle panels, but we can only get them in certain lengths, whereas they can get them in like 18-foot lengths. So they can make a nice arch, but we can't get them like that.
But yeah, we just can't get them, can we?
You just get them on a roll, which is like industrial size, which is no good to me.
Yeah.
But I really like those cattle panels. I think they look fantastic.
I've seen them as well. They just basically put 4 stakes, don't they, in the ground, and then they thread it over. I actually built something similar once on the grapevine garden. I haven't got a photograph of it now, and it was similar to that, but it was actually grids from like shop windows, and I had them, and they were so thick. I've still got them. It's a shame, Annie, that you don't live closer, but if you ever visit, let me know, and I'll chuck a few in the back of the car if you want. We'll put them on the top or something. But
I don't think they're going in my car.
Bring a trailer. But yeah, I've got them, and I don't think I've got a photograph of. There's something I did with arches, and I'm gonna have a quick look now, see if I can find the photograph. Where maybe it's on this picture, maybe, I don't know. No, so on the grapevine plot, I've actually got I used, do you know the 2 hoops that you can have on raised beds? So I've got a picture here of them used as a raised bed. So I used these from First Tunnel. So I bought the 4-foot arches, Annie, and I bought the 3-foot ones, and they do different sizes. But I actually I'll show you a picture. So I bought these archways, and I actually extended poles on them, and then I put mesh over the top. It's a shame, really, that I haven't got a picture.
Oh, I know what you mean.
But I actually built an archway, and that's a beautiful archway as well. That's on the grapevine plot as well. But I am renowned. People keep always comment saying, oh, another archway, because I do love a nice little archway on the plot. And I just think it's just an easy way of growing things over, isn't it? And especially if you're trying to space save on your plot. And a lot of people are trying to do that because the space is vital to them. I'm lucky now I've got two that took that stress away from me. I used to always be constantly stressing about trying to fit everything in for the harvest. And the best thing I ever did was get a second plot. And that takes me back to Annie. I seen a question earlier that I can't see now, but it actually said, Annie, would you ever consider having an allotment again?
Not now I've got my kitchen garden. It satisfies all my needs. If I didn't have the space, or if I'd got younger grandchildren that wanted to play in the garden, then I might want an allotment. But I live on my own now. My boys are grown up, so I don't need an area for children to play. So I'm really sort of happy with what I've got. I grow enough for my needs. So I did enjoy my allotment. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I was very proud of it, and I worked it all on my own. And it was completely overgrown, as most people's are when they take them on. So I cleared it myself. But no, I'm contented with what I've got now.
I think that's the thing, though, is when you first take on an allotment, is that excitement. Like, you do see it, don't you? Like yours with Mayu as well. Like, you've seen it and you see the potential. Same as you, Jem. You look at it and think, oh my God, what am I thinking taking over this plot? And then, Jem, yours is really coming together now, isn't it? Like, you can see that this year yours is starting to have, like, you haven't got that polytunnel now, but yours is starting to have the bones now. You can see that you've gone from that stage, which I remember that stage of, I've put these things down because I want to grow. And now you're thinking, I know my space now. I know where grows best way, and I'm going to move things around. Like, you are lucky now. You've got that nice polytunnel, and you've got a lovely growing space now that that you can plan for next year, can't you?
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited about now. Now I actually know what I'm doing. I say know what I'm doing, but you know what I mean. Now that
what you're doing.
Now that I'm like got the allotment sort of like ready to go now, it's like next year I'm excited.
Yeah, we got loads of plans though, and we Gemma for next year. So we're gonna go over to Mayu's house and steal Ocker. Have that
You're
for breakfast.
very welcome.
Jameson. We're gonna have some Jameson.
Yeah, Jameson for breakfast. Yeah.
What about harvest though? How did you find this year? I found this year was worse than last year for harvest. I felt they were okay, but I felt that a lot of things it didn't do. This was one of your harvests.
Wow.
So that's yours at Mayu, isn't it?
That
Mayu?
was just one of the harvests, yeah. But no, it hasn't been a great year. I got no cucumbers. I got basically just 2 squashes. I had still loads of tomatoes, you see, because what happened in May with that massive heat wave we had, I had all the seedlings in the greenhouse, and didn't I forget all the doors closed for a day when we went off to work.
That's all it takes.
And the temperature went to 60 degrees Celsius. It was baking inside there. Yeah, so I lost I lost all my celeriac seedlings, which took ages to grow. And yeah, so I lost a lot of winter sort of vegetable seedlings as well from that. But
so what you're saying is, if you had an allotment, you could have actually had some off a plot holder, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I would have been there collecting it off everybody else's.
I said this on my channel. I've said it on live before. And this is not really a tactic, but it's actually worked out really well for me. I always grow more, and I had this, like, my polytunnel was like a nursery in spring, and that's how I met Linda. I remember Linda started on the plot, and she just started. So there's nothing worse than when you first have an allotment, you haven't already prepared for that season, and you're already trying to weed everything and get your plot up to scratch. And I just comment saying, do you want some seedlings? She came over to the polytunnel, and everything was out all ready and all planted. And these are extra ones that I had. And the best thing I found is that give all my spares away to people that are really, really passionate as well. And then I've shared their produce then as well, because my leeks failed because of the pumpkins. And then luckily, Linda and Cheryl, the leek seedlings I gave away, they actually been supplying me leeks. And the same as tomatoes. Linda lost all her tomatoes, and I supplied Linda all through the early summer and late spring. I supplied her all the way through with tomatoes. So I just think that's a benefit really of having an allotment, is that it's not a solitude. Like kitchen garden is that, Annie, you be the same. If you grow something and you have a failed crop, there's nobody there really that can say, that's all right, I've got one, or you've not got that. So if you have a failed crop, you have a failed crop. And that's the only thing. That's one perk I like about having an allotment, is that I feel like there's a nice community there. There is some questions coming in as well. You can, for some reason, put them. I don't even know what to do with this. I'm going to try and see if I can put it on, but for some reason, it's not letting me put it on the screen. But I'll read it out anyway. Any tips for planting bare root apple trees? Fingers crossed I've been good this year, as I've asked Santa for it. I've got one tip for planting bare root trees, and people always think that they're gonna dig a circle hole for apple trees and for all fruit trees. And the best thing you can actually do is to dig your fruit hole a square, so that when those roots go out, they don't wind around the hole. They hit the corners and then they fan out. And a lot of people think, oh, just this, the root ball is kind of like this. You think, oh, just do a circle hole. But my advice would be to put a square hole, and then once it hits that corner, off they go then. Otherwise, they might spin around a little bit in that hole, because the outside soil might be a bit more compact. Anyone else got any tips?
Stake them.
Yeah,
and
I
stake
keep
them from
forgetting
day
to
one.
stake them.
I've got one. I've got a tree on my plot. Oh, and do you know what? Comments I get about it saying you've still not staked that tree. It's only a little sapling, but
yeah,
I'm excited for the tree. There's a plot further down the site, and they've got this apple, and when you bite into it, it's bright pink, and it's really strange. Like it's like no apple I've ever seen. It's like a pinky red color, and I think it might be called like moon blush or something like that. Anyway, I can't remember. But I bought one and I put it in the plot and stake them, because not only from the wind, but from you walking past them as well, you'll catch them. And yeah, but there's another question coming as well saying, I have a very big conifer type tree that's not far off touching electrical cables. So Annie, you might be able to answer this one. I have a very big conifer tree that's not far touching electrical cables, so we've decided to cut it down. Can you suggest that a tree that's manageable, that the birds, etc., will like? Thank you. Well, if you're close by to Annie, her son's a tree surgeon, so we'll plug him a bit of business. Chances are you might live by Annie, because a few of my visitors, Annie, you've already had some other viewers come and see you, haven't you? That were on last week, so that was really nice for you. I should have had.
Ali and Trisha, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hello,
any suggestions for a new tree that the birds will still like?
It's not my own knowledge. What I know is that I've got a building site behind me, and those that have been following me for the past 12 months know that the contractors took out a massive hedgerow. It was wild.
Yeah.
And lots of wild trees. There were sycamores. There was, I don't know what else was there, but they took the lot out and put up a massive fence. So it's just completely bare now.
Yeah.
But the planning has said that they have to put in a beach hedgerow and rowan. That was the suggestion. And the reason they suggested those particular plants is because they're really good for the wildlife.
Yeah,
so my knowledge is very limited.
We've got a lot of beech trees around us as well. But before I read the part about the birds, I would have said to put hazelnut in, because they do long shoots out the side as well. You can use them for canes as well, but they're not really good for the birds. But yeah,
but with the rowan,
any ideas, Gemma? Are you a tree expert, Gemma?
I wouldn't say I was a tree expert. No, I'm definitely not a tree expert. I wouldn't really know. I wouldn't want to guess. I'm not sure.
I think
I consider about the height thing as well.
Yeah,
something that you can manage as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I would look online for advice because it depends how big you want the tree to grow. Obviously, if you've got power lines, you don't want it to get too big. Maybe you're better off putting in something like a hawthorn.
So someone's asked, are the Greek gigantes a runner bean? And then obviously Cheryl's answered saying, yes, they are like a runner bean, but really big. Ate all of it when young, but leave to grow, and the beans are great. I've got a jar of beans so you can have some if you'd like. Oh, see, that's what you won't get from a kitchen garden, ladies. No. You won't get that. But yeah, so I would take some of them as well and use them as runner beans, and they're actually quite nice as a small runner bean. So you can pick some first of all, and then just, it's pretty much like you would do with a runner bean. You would either keep them to grow until they, turn into pulses sort of thing. And then, but they're beautiful. These, Jane Kelly put me onto these, and these are actually beautiful in and in stews. You drop them in and they swell, and they're so fleshy and meaty. They're really good. I'm sure.
Are they butter beans? Because I buy tins of butter beans. So
they're pretty much similar to those as well. Mm-hmm. So Steve has also said about the tree, so it can answer that as well. Do not overfeed the soil when bare root planting trees. You want the roots to look for their own nutrition and go deep. That's another thing that a lot of people do. They always think we've got to feed everything, and I think because gardeners are naturally, I think, quite caring people, and they want the best for their plants and seedlings, and a seed has already got everything it needs inside that, so it grows from that. And it only needs food afterwards to grow into a seedling. And the problem is, though, that people over nurture things to the point when you do put them outside, they're not strong enough. They're not fighters. They're not Welsh.
Or Steve actually is making a good point about checking the rootstock of the trees before buying. Because apple trees, you don't want to end up with an orchard-sized tree if you only want a small one.
Yeah.
That would be on a M26, let's say. Just a handy size to manage.
Good point. Thank you very much. There is loads of people in the comments, though, saying, though, so Linda's just said about the tomatoes, she's still got a pile in the freezer. Well, can I have some back? Because I've run out. Yeah, so thanks so much. Oh, hello, everyone. There's quite a few more people coming on tonight. So I'm actually really thankful for that. So thank you so much for everyone who popped on extra. Excuse me, I'm sure it is because of the newer guests. And I'm sure they're quite inquisitive about the ladies ganging up on me tonight, because I actually had a few people saying, I hope they show you what for, Danny, because it's normally the other way around. So spring bulbs, are we all planted up now? Are we all done for that?
No.
What?
After Christmas, maybe.
Why did you do that, Maya? Why did you do after Christmas?
I don't have the space ready. It's not ready. I'm so behind. Yeah.
So I haven't done any at the allotment because last year I planted loads of daffodils and what did I do? Daffodils, snowdrops. I did loads of things and I planted them all, but I planted them around where everything was. So I'm going to wait for them to come up. And see where they are, because I don't plant everything because everything's moved. So I've left it, and I'm going to be sensible, wait for everything to come up, and then I might just move some bits around while they're up.
I've tried this year. I don't know if anyone's seen one of my latest videos, but
I tried. God, it's going to be amazing.
I put 300 bulbs in this planter alone, and I'm sure a few of them the squirrels will have, but that I think that is going to be, it'll be dog eat dog out of them. But I've still got a few hundred that I'm going to dot around, and there's been a few that suggested, and Annie, I think you suggested, didn't you, about placing some certain areas of things. Was it you that said about my tulips to pop bits in everywhere? I've had that many phone calls. I've had that many phone calls this week. I don't even know where. Honestly, planning these lives has taken over my life. But I am enjoying them. But I got literally another, I'd say a few hundred that I think I'm just going to put in little bunches, and I'm just going to place them all around the fig and olive and the grapevine plot. And I think that they'll, well, fingers crossed anyway, because I am taking a bit of a gamble by using an actual bed that I really do need in spring. For that could be for crops really, and it's in a good place for sun as well. So fingers crossed. Mayu, do you normally plant after Christmas your bulbs, or is it just because you're late?
No, it's just the timing. This goes nearly a decade now of planting bulbs, but I'm fine with December. Just before Christmas, so when the Christmas break sort of comes around those days. But I think this year might be just even after Christmas. I have 2 tons of compost in the yard that got delivered, and I still have all that to move in. No.
So do you do it all yourself, Mayu, or just you do it all yourself?
Yeah.
That is impressive.
All the gravels, everything, everything. It's just I'd be too guilty because it's my hobby, you see. So I'd be just way too guilty. My husband works hard enough. I don't expect him to be doing any of this, and he has his own hobbies, and so.
I can't believe you moved. I can't believe you moved all that gravel on yourself. Yeah, but I understand that you said if he came home from work and then he's really tired, and then you'd be like, "Do this on my hobby." But yeah, fair play to you. You've done well, haven't you? From what you've done, I think we all.
Yeah, but I think you see that's the thing, right? If we come back to the kitchen garden allotment side of it, is that this is sort of like an investment, isn't it? That's part of our house, or home and household.
Yeah.
As when you're dealing with allotment, can you actually put that much heart and soul into a plot?
How dare you? Yes, I can.
I mean,
I put my heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears go into my allotment plots. Thank you very much. But I know you mean yours is treated like with me. I've still not got that link where you think, right, I need something, I'm gonna go straight outside. It's like a little supermarket. I do that as well. I've got into the habit of when I go to the supermarket. After I've been to the supermarket, I call back to the plot, and then I do a plot shop, what I call, and then I have a truck, and I go around and get everything I need for that week, and I take home as well. But I know you mean you've got that. That is another luxury, really, that we might not have as allotments. That there's times where you think, oh, I've got salad over there, but imagine going all the way over there just to get a lettuce, just to put in the sandwich. You've got that luxury, and you have Annie as well, haven't you? That you could just pop outside, pick up some salad and put it straight on a plate. And as much as we've joked about this kitchen garden versus allotment, I've actually got a courtyard at the front, and I'm going to turn that into a kitchen garden, I think, purely just for salad. So because I've used some of those beds this year for planting flowers and things like that, I've decided the front garden, I'm going to actually put in maybe 1 or 2 big raised beds that's high. And I'm just going to plant most of my salads there. I'm going to still plant some over the allotment, but I'm going to convert that this spring as well. So that the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned is that's the entrance that the postman comes in, and he's going to be like, what the hell is going on here? Like, Jeremy, why has he got all these lettuces, all colourful rows? But hopefully, he won't pinch them. But I have decided that that's one thing that I hate. Are you like that, Gemma, where sometimes you think, God, there's such a hassle to go all the way over just to get out in the rain?
I mean, my plot isn't that far, but it's still like, so for example, now if I would like, I'm just not going to go now, and especially now it's dark and I haven't got like solar lights or anything down there. I'm not going to go when it's dark. I'm just not going to go. See, like it does stop me from doing that. I only really go in the morning, and that's it. So then, it does stop you from, it's like that. It's not far, but it's not walking out your back door, is it?
No, and it's silly things like sometimes I'll be in the supermarket and it'll be tipping down with rain, and I think I really need to go get those baby potatoes. And I think, is it worth going in there now and getting really wet and unlocking it all? And there are times where I think, no, they're there. I need to go get it. But there are other times where I think it's too cold now, and or the soil might be, too hard to, to gather out and things. Well, like I've had carrots that were stuck the other day. I really wanted them for a casserole, and they were actually frozen into the bucket. So that's a lesson learned. I'm going to bring my carrots in next year. I cannot believe we've been going for nearly an hour and a half, but I just want to, I'm not going to wrap it up yet quickly, but I just want to say thank you all for coming on tonight. And I just want to make sure that you all go over to these channels. Can you go over to, let me remove that quote first. That would help, wouldn't it? How do I do that? There. So if you can pop over to Gemma's, Annie's, obviously Mayu's, and also Linda's as well, the moderator. She's done really well tonight as well. And I think I can show you who's on next week as well. I've actually planned. So if all goes to plan, next week it will be, drum roll, it's going to be Kerry at Dog on the Plot. Oh, God, I had to put him on you, didn't I, Steve Digwell? He paid me. He paid me to put him on, honestly. He paid me to put him on my channel, honestly. And obviously, the lovely Audrey as well from Real Food Comes Dirty. And also, just to let you know as well, because you love putting up with me as much as you can, I'm actually on Audrey's channel on Wednesday night next week. So come over and give me some support. Say hello to Audrey as well. Subscribe to Audrey's channel. And then she's on mine then on the Thursday. So we're swapping around a bit. So yeah, so I'm stealing one of the Potty Mouth and she's stealing one of me. So, and speaking of which, Potty Mouth is back as well. So that's really good. I'm sure everyone's really happy that they're back now on a Monday as well. So you've got a few of us that are going to keep you all entertained over the autumn and winter. So it's not just me now. You'll have them as well on a Monday. So that's pretty good as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming on tonight. And I know we've had quite a few more viewers tonight as well than usual. So I thank you all. And we'll see you all again next Thursday. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.